It's no coincidence peppermints are offered after dinner. The peppermint plant is one of the world's oldest ways to soothe your stomach after a big meal. And Redbird peppermint puffs have been a Southern after-dinner tradition for over a century.
We start with 100% cane sugar, and we heat that up.
Heating occurs in 2 stages. First, the sugar is mixed with water and is preheated with steam to 200 degrees.
Then it goes into the second cooker and it final cooks it to 310. And once it reaches 310, it comes out on our cooling drum.
As the sugar begins to caramelize, it turns yellow, and the cooling drum turns the liquid sugar into a thick, gooey jelly.
They pull the 100-pound batches off, and with each batch, they actually pull a little piece off that's gonna become the red stripes. That little 5-pound piece that they pulled off, they're actually hand kneading the color into it, which I think is really cool.
While the stripe maker kneads the red coloring into the mixture, the other 95 pounds of the batch goes onto a sugar spinner. As the sugar continues to cool on the pulling machine, it turns back to white, and that's not all.
The purpose of the pulling machine is threefold. It helps cool it down, it helps put air in it to airify the mint to give it the puffy taste, and it also helps blend the peppermint flavor throughout the batch.
The peppermint is all natural and super concentrated. Just 3 ounces flavors the entire 100-pound batch. That's only about 2 shots worth. After about 5 minutes on the spinner, the now white and peppermint-flavored candy mixture is transferred to a table where a candy maker molds it by hand into a big, puffy 100-pound log.
That's why when you look at the candy, when you open up a full bag of candy, you're not gonna see every piece looking identical. It's not symmetrical every time, and that's because they're putting those pieces on by hand.
At this point, it does kind of look like a giant piece of peppermint candy. But how does this become this? That's the job of the batch roller. The rough surface of the batch roller grabs the candy, keeps it moving, and keeps the stripe straight as it reduces the puffy, gooey pillow of peppermint into a slender tube. Originally, they were rolled out by hand on big tables, so that's why peppermint puffs are round. The candy makers continuously stab the roll with a metal pick to prevent air bubbles from forming in the candy. Once the sizer has the rope down to 1 inch in diameter, it enters the cutter.
These cutters are our custom-made to the shape that we've always had, and that's the shape that we're known for.
And that's just what they're starting to look like now. But these little guys still have a long journey ahead of them. From the cutter, they go into the cooling conveyors, where they're rapidly air-cooled to keep their shape. And then onto a belt where they travel up to the inspectors, who remove any broken or misshapen pieces. At this point, the candy has been completely cooled and is actually quite hard. But wait a minute. Redbird peppermint puffs are famous for being soft, not hard. How's that happen? Well, that's a secret. But it happens at the end of this line in what's called the curing room. In here, it undergoes a proprietary process that adds some humidity and some heat back into the hard candy. So about 2 hours after starting out as a sugary liquid, these little guys are ready for the final phase of their journey, the wrapper.
They're called horizontal wrappers or pillow wrappers. As the mint goes through the infeed, the film wraps around it and forms sort of a pillow. It seals the bottom and then it seals the ends in the shape of a little pillow.
The entire process, from sugar to shipping container, takes a little over 2 hours.
Our daily output is around 60,000 pounds per day, which is a little less than 5 million pieces per shift.
That's over 25 million puffs a week. Enough to stretch from New York to Washington, D.C.